Here is my 2,000 points of Drukhari organized into a battalion and outrider detachments, led as always by the 3 Succubi triplets, Anna in the center with her blast pistol. Her combat drug gives her +1 toughness. Kitty on the left with her impaler. Combat drug gives her +2 movement. And Dolly on the right with her agonizer, also +2 movement. Supported by 3 units of witches, the Hecatrix in the center of that 5-man witch squad has a power sword, and then there is a witch in there with Hydra gauntlets. They have +1 weapon skill. On the right is a unit of 10 witches. The Hecatrix is armed with an agonizer and blast pistol. Then you also have 2 witches, one with Hydra gauntlets, the other with razor flails. They have combat drugs that give them +2 leadership. And on the left, a unit of 9 witches. Hecatrix similarly armed with the agonizer, blast pistol, phantasm grenade launcher, and 1 witch armed with the Hydra gauntlets. They have the combat drug to give them +1 attack. I have 4 units of Reaver jet bikes organized into 3 each. Inside each of those is 1 special weapon, and the special weapon carries Grav talent. So on the left, these 2 squads have the blasters. The squad in front has +1 attack, and the one in the back +1 toughness. And these Reavers over here are armed with the heat lances. Similarly, in the front we have +1 attack, and in the back we have +1 toughness. 2 units of 10 Hellions. The Heliarch has a phantasm grenade launcher, and they have +1 strength as their combat drug. And that unit is armed the same way. We have 2 units of Scourges. This one on the left, we have 2 armed with the Dark Lances. And on the right, we have 2 armed with blasters, and the Solarite is armed with a blast pistol and power spear. Supporting all of this is 3 dedicated transports. The Venom in the middle has the Splinter Cannon and the 2 Splinter Rifles underslung, and then 2 Raiders with the Dark Lances. 2,000 points, giving me a total of 7 command points, ready to take on the Orcs.
All right, today I brought a battalion and a spearhead detachment of Orcs. So I'm going to get 7 total command points. Starting off with this war boss. He's going to be my warlord. He's got an attack squig, power claw, and combi rocket launcher, and he has tenacious survivor. Next to him is going to be another war boss with a combi scorcher, power claw, attack squig. For elite choices, I have Nob with a Wah banner, a Doc with a kill saw, and 10 Knobs. In that squad is a power claw, a combi rocket, and 3 custom shooters, and they'll be riding in a big truck with a big shooter, or a truck with a big shooter. 3 troop choices: a squad of 30 shooter boys, Nob with a big chopper and 3 big shooters. Next to them is an identical squad of 30 shooter boys, and then 20 slugger chopper boys, Nob with a power claw, 2 rocket launchers, and they will be riding in a battle wagon that is in my spearhead detachment. Spearhead detachment is led by a big mech, custom force field, and power claw. And then I have 1 Killacan with a big shooter. I've got 2 Death Dreads, one with extra Dreadnought close combat weapon and a Scorcher, and one with 2 rocket launchers, and then a battle wagon with no upgrades. And that is 1,850 points, 7 command points.
Really excited to play a new mission today. We're playing the ITC scenario number 1 from our Champions mission deck. It's quite different from what we've played in the past. There's a total of 6 objectives on the board. We got 4, 1, 2, and 3 on the outside corners. These are all pre-placed. Then we have 5 and 6 in the middle. For primary objectives, you score 1 point at the end of your turn if you control at least 1 objective, and you score 1 point if you kill at least 1 enemy unit. At the end of the battle round, the player who holds more objectives gets an additional point, and the player who's killed more enemy units gets an additional battle point. And then on top of that, we have a number of secondary objectives. Jeremy, what'd you pick?
I chose Headhunter, 1 point for destroying character. The Reaper, 1 point for every unit you destroy that has 10 or more models. And Death by 1,000 Cuts, 1 point each time I kill 3 or more units in a battle round.
And what did I pick?
You took Headhunter as well. the Reaper, and Recon. Recon is have a unit at least partially in each stable quarter at the end of your player turn.
You can score a maximum of 4 points for each of those secondary objectives. So this is going to be really interesting. It really messes around with who gets to go first. One thing to note, you have number forest here. Obviously played straight out of the rule book, but we also have a river in this house. Unless you're crossing that little river crossing right there, that little ford, it is -2 to charge distance if you go over the river. A number of craters as well, line of sight blocking terrain. This is going to be a great game. So next we'll come back with our deployment, and stay tuned for that. The deployment zone has been rolled for, and it is frontline assault. So that's 6 inches from the table edge, 15 inches in the center, and diagonal lines for each side. We are deployed. I'll start with my side. I got a unit of 10 Hellions over here, a unit of bikes near objective 4. You can see Kitty hiding behind the storage containers there with the Venom 5 witches inside. Some more bikes and Hellions, and then some blaster bikes up there towards the front as a spearhead. We got the unit of Scourges with the 2 Dark Lances back here in the rear. Dolly's hiding behind those ruins, my 2 Raiders. The one with the transfers is where Anna is, along with the squad of 9 witches. And then lastly, on the left, I got another unit of Heatland spikes over there. Jeremy, what are you looking at?
All right, over here on my left, I have a truck with 10 knobs in it. Next to that is the war boss that is not the warlord. Battle wagon with 20 Slugger Chopper boys. Big mech with his custom force field, dead center. Next to him is the 2 Death Dreads and the Killer Cam, so that everyone can benefit from his force field. Squad of 30 shooter boys. My last 3 characters, the war boss, the Doc, and the Knob with the Wa banner, and then a final squad of 30 boys over here by objective 2.
All right, a whole lot of boys. We'll come back for the roll to see who goes first next. Jeremy finished deploying just before me, so he'll get a +1 on the roll. I have rolled a 3 and a 3, so that is a tie. We'll re-roll that. That is a 5 and a 4. That's another tie. That is a 5 and a 2. All right, and a surprise twist. The Dark Eldar are going to choose to go second. This mission kind of pushes you that direction, as long as you don't get Alpha Struck, and I don't think the Orcs have enough to bring an Alpha Strike. So with that, No sees the initiative. We are ready to begin turn 1. Good luck to you, Jeremy.
All right. All right, Orc movement phase, turn 1. We had the war boss that was standing here jump into the truck with the knobs, and they pulled around over next to objective 1. This battle wagon just moved forward, it's 12 inches. And then over here, this Death Dread and this Killer Can advanced. This Death Dread just moved forward. Big mech advanced. And then the squad of 30 boys just kind of shifted over along with all the characters here. And then this squad of 30 slowly started shifting over, and I put a few in the building because I know that the charge from the Dark Eldar is coming.
All right, so no psychic phases for either of us. We'll go straight to the shooting phase.
Orcs not known for their shooting prowess. This big shooter missed. Over here, the 2 rockets from in here. One of them killed one of the jet bikes. Then over here, this big shooter failed to wound. This Death Dread with his 2 rockets, he also killed a bike. And then the big shooters from this squad took a wound off. And then the 3 big shooters in this squad shot at this unit of bikes and also just took a wound off. And that is all my shooting. Hopefully when we get into close combat, that's when the Orcs will shine.
You plan to do an assault on this turn?
No, nothing in range. And I only get 1 point for primary objective for controlling at least 1 objective.
Okay, so right now the Orcs are on the board, 1-0. Now on to the Dark Eldar, turn 1. Dark Eldar turn 1 movement saw me reshuffle my Hellions around a little bit, so I'm within 18 inches of that massive battle wagon. I know I need 6s to wound, but it's the best I got. While the bikes have moved out sharply, these guys just moved their 16 inches. Those guys up there advanced are now in the table quarter, and these two hide in the ruins have taken that objective. They did not advance, they just moved normally. Moved my Venom up 16 inches, shuffled these guys around a little bit. Most of them are now in the crater. Of course, my Scourgus stayed there. My Succubus stayed there. The other unit of Scourgus dropped in here, a little bit more than 9 inches away from all that mechanical madness. While the two Raiders scooted over to the left, getting ready to use their Dark Lances to good effect. And those guys advanced 24 inches and are hiding in the woods. So, we'll be back with the Dark Eldar shooting after this. Dark Eldar turn 1 shooting. Didn't accomplish a whole lot, unfortunately. Shooting with the blasters from those two units, of course the one up on top of the ruins, advanced. They both hit and they both managed to do a total of 3 wounds to the truck. I'm sorry, the battle wagon. While the Heat Lance back here missed and the Splinter Rifles didn't do much damage. And neither did these guys. I think they did 1 damage. It started with 16, Jeremy, right?
Yes.
So it's down to 11. So a little bit of damage there. While over here, the Dark Lance is really disappointed. I did 2 wounds, but Jeremy saved with a 5 up because of his big mech back there. Very impressive. And then I rolled a 1 on damage. Re-rolled it using a command point and rolled a 2. But the Hellions did pitch in and did a wound to it as well, as did some blasters over here. He is down to 3 wounds remaining. He would be dead if it weren't for these 2 Raiders rolling double 2s and doing no damage to him. Over here, a Heat Lance managed to kill one of those boys on the left, and then my Venom managed to kill 2 boys. Jeremy made 2 6-up saves, which was pretty good. He did a total of 4 wounds. So neither one of us killed a unit in the first turn. At least not yet. We're going to go to the Dark Eldar assault phase next. So the Dark Eldar tried for a 7-inch charge with those bikes right there against the battle wagon, but failed, rolling a 3. No worries though. When it comes to points, both Jeremy and I have 3 objectives, so I score 1 just by holding an objective. No one gets the additional primary point though for that. Neither one of us killed any units, so no points for that, but I do have recon with a unit there, and a mess of units in my backfield. So, at the end of turn 1, the score is Dark Eldar 2, Orcs 1. Back with the Orcs turn 2.
Alright, over here, the Knobs and the War Boss all jumped out of their trucks and they all advanced forward. This battle wagon, after it offloaded its cargo, it moved forward towards these bikes. The 20 boys that were in it, they all piled out and are now at the bottom floor of the ruins in the center. These Dreads and Killacan, they all moved up, trying to stay close to the mech, along with this squad of 30 shooter boys and the 3 characters. They moved up following the surge up the center. And this squad of 30 boys, or what was 30 boys, moved over towards these bikes in the woods.
We have whittled them down to 29. That's going to be decisive. All right, on to the Orc shooting phase.
All right, Orc shooting phase. Over here, these guys were hitting on 6s because they advanced. They shot back at the squad of the jump infantry and they did not do anything, didn't get any hits. The Scorcher from the War Boss went into the squad of bikes and you made all your saves.
Yes, I did.
And then this big shooter shot, didn't do anything. These boys here in the middle, they shot and managed to take out 1 bike. They're shooting at the bike and then they fired some rockets up at the Venom, failed to hit.
Flicker field's in effect.
Over here, this Dreadnought, he shot his Scorcher up at the Venom for some auto hits, but he failed to wound. And then this one shot its rockets. It shot at this Raider over here, took 3 points of damage off of it. This big shooter failed to wound these bikes. This squad here, they all shot up with these bikes as well, and they made all of their saves.
Wait a second. That squad shot at my
Oh, never mind.
Scourges.
Take that back. This squad shot at the Scourges and wiped them out. These characters in the back shot at these bikes and they made all their saves.
Yep.
Reverse that. Very important. This squad took out an entire unit of Scourges.
Was hoping the 3-up save would help the Scourges. It did not. Lost all 5. Okay.
And then this unit of boys, they wiped out the bikes over here on our flank.
All right, so you've killed 2 units so far this turn, but I'm sure you got some more to do an assault, so we'll come back after that.
All right, Knobs over here, they assaulted into the bikes that used to be there, along with the war boss that was here. The Knobs managed to kill 2, but left 1 for the boss. He killed it, and then I mistakenly advanced my war boss forward. Orc's always wanting to fight, bit off more than he can chew, because he died to the Hellions' retaliation.
Yes.
In the center here, we managed to drop this Venom down to 2 wounds, but we couldn't kill it. And then we did terrible rolling. We managed to take 1 wound off of the bike at the bottom floor, and 1 wound off of a bike.
No.
Oh no, he was already wounded.
You didn't manage to put any wounds on him.
Nothing to these guys.
Lost 2 in Overwatch.
2 in Overwatch, and then we lost 3 more in the combat return. And then over here, the Death Dread, he did make it in to these Hellions here. He killed 2, and they managed to take 2 wounds off of him.
Okay, so we're going to look at morale real quick. Jeremy, I'm good here with leadership 8, and everyone else died to a man, more or less. So your guys over there are the only one in question.
13. How many do they have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I'm thinking they're
Orc
probably
leadership is 15 because there's 15 boys left in the squad. They lost 5. No way I could fail that.
All right, very good. We will point out, though, you have destroyed 1, 2, 3 units this turn. That is one of your secondary objectives, so well done there. We'll come back at the end of the phase, the, what's it called, battle round, and let you know what the score is. So on to Drukhari, turn 2. The Drukhari are looking to make use of their superior movement speed and have jumped this unit of Hellions up to surround those Knobs. This unit of Hellions has jumped out of combat with that Death Dread and has completed the encirclement of them. While this biker was in combat in those ruins, with her 1 wound left, she has come back to secure this objective. I left those guys in combat. They have the +1 toughness, so they're doing pretty well, while I jumped these witches out with the +1 weapon skill. In order to jump in there. The Venom has moved its 16 inches and now has a character in its line of sight with its 10 shots. We'll see what that can do. I think I'm going to be able to kill this in shooting, but if not, we have Dolly right there to finish the job. It has 2 wounds remaining, and I think Dolly's the woman for that job. While those Scourges have remained there, make sure they're hitting on their 3s with their Dark Lances. 1 unit of Witches has disembarked here and has moved up to objective 5, and there is Anna right there with her blast pistol looking at that kill a can. The other unit of Witches jumped out of the Raider, and that Raider has since moved up there. So a couple long charges this turn probably, but the good news for Eldar is turn 2, Power from Pain, is reroll charge distance. So we'll see what we can do with shooting before we start worrying about the charging. Drukhari, turn 2, shooting. The Hellions combine to take 4 Knobs off the board. That is a total of 8 wounds, obviously. They also hit with the Phantasm Grenade Launcher, so they're at -1 leadership as well if they survive. In here, the pistols from both the bikes and these witches didn't manage to do any damage. But the pistols over here, Blast Pistol took some wounds off the Kill-A-Can, and pistols managed to kill 3 over there, combined with those pistols. It was eventually Anna killing the Death Dread, not Death Dread, the Kill-A-Can with her blast pistol. Naturally, it exploded, doing 1 damage to each of the witch squads, but Anna made her save using her Inured from Pain, so that was okay. This is the real problem, though. because the Dark Lances were 1 for 4. Missing 2 here and only hitting 1 there, doing a total of 4 points of damage. So it's really going to be up to Dolly to assault into there. It still has its 2 wounds remaining. Other than that, Dark Light Grenade did a little bit of work over on these guys, killing 3. Pretty happy about that. Overall, we have thinned the orcs down and are in good position for our charges. So we'll be back to you after the Dark Eldar charge phase. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It was a very exciting close combat round for the Dark Eldar and the orcs. Started out over here with Kitty. She managed to kill a couple of orcs. And then Jeremy interrupted with his Death Dread over here, but didn't manage to do any wounds on Dolly back there with that 4-up invul save. After that was all Drukhari. Managed to kill all but that knob there, who will have to take a morale check. Here, the 5 witches that got out did some serious damage to Jeremy. He has lost a total of 9 models, 10 models in there?
9 models.
A lot of models. But in return, he killed the 5 witches. But the bikes are still there, so that's pretty good. Didn't manage to do any wounds to the Death Dread with Dolly, unfortunately. Over here, managed to kill the big mech that was here. And a number of orcs back there as well. But they wiped out that squad of 10 pretty handily. It was +1 attack because of all the boys in there, and then +1 to hit because of the banner. So it was very good there. Over here, my invuls finally kicked in. I only lost 1, 2, 3 witches this turn. One of those was to a mortal wound, so from a exploding vehicle. But I managed to kill a total of 8 orcs there. Now we will look at leadership for morale tests. I need 1 for these witches over here. They've lost 3. Their leadership is 8. That's a 3, so they are good. Jeremy is good just because of the number of boys he has there and the number of boys he has here. In the ruins, he is in a bit of a pickle.
We lost 9. Our leadership is 7. So I'm going to lose 2 orcs plus a...
I think you lost 10. You got 1 underneath that guy as well.
Okay, 10. So I'm going to lose 3 plus this dice roll.
Big number.
4, 5, 6, 7. That's everyone. 1, 2, 3. That's the squad.
Okay, that's critical. Is when we go review objectives, you'll see why. Okay, and then this knob over here.
He auto fails, but he has a keep in order, and on a 6, he doesn't flee. He is not keeping order.
Okay, so we need to go back and tally up who has which objectives and who's killed more units this turn, and we'll be back with the score before we go to Orc's turn 3. Scoring for the end of the battle round. Turn 2. The Drukhari hold objectives 4, 6 after the orcs lost their unit there, and 3, while the orcs hold 2, 5, and 1. So we each get 1 point for holding the objective at the end of each of our turns, and we each killed at least 1 unit. Matter of fact, Jeremy gets an additional point on the primary mission because he killed 6 of my units in total. I had killed 5 of his this battle round. When it comes to secondaries, Jeremy scored 2. He got 1 for killing a unit of 10. That was these witches over here. And he got 1 point for death by 1,000 cuts, meaning he killed 3 units. I managed to kill 2 characters in this turn, a unit of 10, and for the second turn in a row, I have units in all 4 table quarters, at least partially. So the score at the end of round 2 is Orc 6, Drukhari 9.
All right, orc movement phase. Battle wagon stayed in combat. This truck stayed still. The dock moved over towards this venom. This squad of boys, they slid over into the ruins in the center. Warboss and the knob with the wall banner, they moved up. This Death Dread moved up towards try to save his buddy. And then these boys stayed locked in combat.
I gotta say, Jeremy, I'm not sure his buddy needs saving. I'm not sure Dolly's gonna be able to do it. But we shall see what happens as we go to your shooting phase next.
Alright, this truck over here in the orc shooting phase, he shot across the way at this jet bike. Wounded it twice, but it made both saves.
Hooray.
Over here, these boys, half of the squad shot at these bikes and managed to kill one off. And then they took a couple wounds off of the headquarters unit here.
Anna. Her name is Anna.
Anna. She also took some wounds from the custom shooter over here from the knob with the wall banner. She's down to 2 wounds.
Yes, indeed.
War Boss, he shot his rocket back here at the Scourges and missed. This Death Dread shot his rockets at the Scourges. They were the only target he really had. He killed one. Other than that, Knob over here shot his pistol at these witches and he missed. And that is all of my shooting.
All right, let's get to the assaults. All right, Jeremy, take us through turn 3 assault.
Okay, turn 3 assault. The battle wagon that was here killed one of the Hellions, but then they killed it in return. Then I have these boys in here. They killed the Reaver jet bike consultant. They moved on to that objective. And then my War Boss and this knob here, they managed to kill Anna. But in return, she dropped this knob with a wall banner down to 1 wound.
Yes, this is a pretty good story. You attacked first with your War Boss and managed to knock a total of 4 wounds off her, I believe.
Yes.
Which was incredible because she was making some 4-up saves, and then she needed to make 3 out of 4 6-ups, followed by 6-ups, and she did. So she had 1 wound remaining. At that point, I interrupted your combat phase. I hit 4 times against the knob banner, wounded 3 times, so I re-rolled using a command point and rolled another 1. So it was that knob in the end that managed to kill her. I really wish I could have kept her alive to blast pistol you in the face, but okay.
All right, then the combined attacks of these 2 Death Dreads, we killed, which one was that?
That was Dolly.
That was Dolly. Kitty's still alive then.
Kitty's a survivor, man. She's a survivor.
All right. This Pain Boy with his kill saw. You know, you might think he's a doctor, but he used it to destroy that venom over there.
Every orc's an infantryman.
And then over here, the witches and the raider, they were, I mean, I hate to say it, they were terrible in combat. Just bad rolls.
Yeah.
They didn't manage to kill any of the orcs, and the orc unit killed both the raider and the remaining witches.
Hitting on 2s with the extra attack, the 6 witches that remained did nothing, which is disappointing. Okay, we did tally up your points. We know that you at least control 1 objective for 1 point. You killed at least 1 unit for a point. You killed 2 characters, which is one of your secondaries for 2 points. And you killed at least 3 units for death by 1,000 cuts. So we'll tally up the scores at the end of my turn to let you know where we're at. But a very good turn by you. And I think you're looking pretty good, but still a lot of Dark Eldar on the board with a lot of mobility. So lots of game still to be played. Stay tuned. Dark Eldar movement phase is complete, and I've stayed on the objective with the Reaver jet biker. While these Hellions have moved up to engage that truck, these Hellions have surrounded the Orc boys who have now found themselves trapped inside these ruins, and they are supported right there by Kitty, the new Succubus Prime of the Witch Cult of Incessant Rage. Here we have the 4 Hellions Scourges making use of their 14-inch movement with those big flappy wings. Have moved to secure objective 3, letting this Raider come up nice and close to that Warlord in order to try to get a kill shot on him. So, we'll be back after the shooting phase. Okay, turn 3 shooting phase is complete. No wounds done to that truck with all the shots, but they're poisoned, so they don't wound very well. Well, I've taken 5 boys out of this squad using the splinter pods, and also hit them with the Phantasm grenade launcher, which reduces their leadership by 1, of course. Over here, 1 Dark Lance hit the back Death Dread, taking 2 points of damage off of it after rerolling the wound.
Yes.
And the second one hit this one, took 3 points of damage off of it, and only had 2 to give. It did not blow up, unfortunately, because it would have been too awesome to have killed that one as well. Over here, my kill shot hit and wounded. No armor save for the War Boss. Rolled 5 on damage, which would have been enough to kill him. But Tenacious Survivor kicked in, and Jeremy rolled 1 of those, but that was okay, because I still had that splintered carbine with the closest target being him. Managed to wound him once, and again, Tenacious Survivor kicked in. He is not dead yet. Do I charge the Raider in is going to be the question. We shall see. So next up, the Drukhari assault phase. Turn 3 assault for the Drukhari, very successful. I start over here on the truck, managed to get 2 wounds through, 1 ramshackle save later, a total of 3 damage was done to the truck. The scrum in the center, incredibly. Well, Anna didn't manage to kill anybody. I'm sorry, Kitty, but that was incredible by itself. But then the Hellions struck very fiercely, doing 11 wounds, to which Jeremy responded by rolling 6 up t-shirt saves, but then lost 5. The doc was not able to help with those 2 damage each. So in total, you've lost a total of 10 guys in there?
Yes, 10 guys this turn.
And in return, I have lost 3. So morale checks on both sides there. Took a chance with the Raider, and the Raider paid off with the shock prow coming through with the vengeance. Managed to do 2 points of damage since it's charged. And Jeremy made 1 of his Tenacious Survivor saves for his Warlord, but not the other. So we're going to do our checks real quick for morale. I need to roll anything but a 6. That's a 3, so I'm good there. Jeremy's counting up his dead. It's considerable.
All right, so leadership is 11 because we have -1 to our leadership.
Phantasm grenade launcher.
And we lost 10, so we need a 1 or we're going to lose some boys.
Lose them.
Yikes.
That's a lot of boys.
And I'm out of command points, so I will be re-rolling that.
All right, so Jeremy's going to pull us off, and we're going to count up the score. The score has been tallied, and Jeremy is closing the gap. Drukhari controls objectives 1, 4, 3 down there, and 5 to a mess in here, but didn't matter. Jeremy's 1 back there, so I had that. So between killing unit and holding an objective plus more objectives, I got 3 points on the primary. Jeremy held an objective. He killed a unit, obviously, and he killed more units, so he got 3 on his primary as well. So we tied there. It was in the secondaries that Jeremy made up some points. He killed 2 of my characters, and then he also managed to kill at least 3 units for a total of 3 secondaries. I was not so lucky. I got my table quarters again for recon. As Jeremy says, that's kind of a gimme for the Orcs at this point, although it was close with that Raider. And then I also gained a point for killing the Warlord over there as a character. So the score right now is 14-12 going into round 4. At this point, Drukhari they ignore morale test. So we got that going for us. We'll see what happens next. This is a consolidated turn 4 for the Orcs. Go ahead and take us through, Jeremy.
Okay, movement. I just had the doc moved over to get closer to the Hellions in the middle. And then this Death Dread came back towards the Raider. These boys moved up to get within shooting range of these Scourges. That was movement.
Shooting was pretty good.
Shooting was pretty good. So the boys here and the Knob with the Watt Banner that was there, they killed 3 out of the 4 remaining Scourges. This Death Dread missed. The Knob with his pistol actually took out a Hellion in the shooting phase. So that wasn't a bad shooting phase for the Orcs.
Nope.
Considering what's left on the board.
And if I could just point out, so had 4-up saves on these Scourges until I lost the first 2, then it went to a 3-up save. It's always a good tactic to have at least some guys in the ruins and take the ones out of the ruins. Takes me off the objective, but that's easy enough to get back to. Okay, so now for the assault phase. You want to start over here.
All right, assault phase. My Knob with the Watt Banner got a Dark Lance to the face as he came in. So then the Death Dread and these boys, they did make it in with the Raider that was there. The boys took off half of its wounds, and the Death Dread finished it off.
I sure did.
Over here, the Pain Boy killed 1. And I want to say the rest of the boys managed to kill maybe 1 more.
Yeah, and that was your first attack, was with the Pain Boys. I then countered with my Hellions and managed to kill a couple of the boys before they could attack.
And then over here, 3 more wounds taken off of the truck. It dealt no wounds in return.
Ramshackle. Okay, so for morale, the Dark Eldar are immune to morale. You lost a total of how many boys over here?
5.
5. That's what I'm thinking too. So your leadership is 7.
So needed 2.
Or a 5. And that's a 5. So that should be the rest of that squad, right?
That is the rest of that squad.
Okay, we'll do some scoring and then come back for the Dark Eldar consolidated turn. So Drukhari turn 4 movement phase. These guys jumped out of combat over to that area where 5 of them shot into the Mad Doc but didn't do any wounds. And 2 of them had to shoot back at the closest model, which was the truck. Managed to do 1 wound there. And these guys jumped out of combat with the Mad Doc up into the 2nd floor of the ruins. And then she moved slightly closer. Shooting phase, that Scourge missed again with his Dark Lance. So nothing, actually he hit, didn't wound. He rolled a 2 to wound.
Yes.
So nothing there. These guys with their splinter pods managed to take down 3 of those orc boys, which is always good. And we already talked about their shooting. So in the assault, they managed to get back into assault. Then there 2 wounds on the truck. Can't quite kill it, but they do control that objective. Kitty came here. She massacred the dock like she does. And I held those guys there. So when we look at objectives, I control 1, 4, and 6. You control 5. So that's going to be advantage to me. So we're going to do the score real quick, no morale text, and come back and let you know where we're at. This is the score sheet that comes in the mission pack. It's a little bit cumbersome, but it definitely helps out when figuring out what the score is. So I scored a total of 4 points on the primary objectives. I killed 2 of Jeremy units. He only killed my raider, so that was worth 2 points for me. And I hold more objectives again for 2 points on the primaries. And he got 2 points in total for his primaries, 1 for holding that objective and 1 for killing the raider. He didn't score any secondaries. I scored 2 points for killing that unit of 20, and then I maxed out on the Headhunter mission to kill a character, killing both Mad Doc and the banner there. So right now the score as we go into turn 5 is 21 to 14. It's looking dire for the orcs, but they've had a good clump so far. So no complaints, I don't think.
Alright, consolidated orc turn. All I did was move my truck out of combat with these guys. I had intended on shooting these Hellions with this Death Dread. It just didn't happen because the squad of Shooter Boys, they moved over and they shot at that Scourge many times and just he just kept passing any armor saves that were asked of him, so he was good.
And then 1-6 up and Nerd to Pain.
1-6 up and Nerd to Pain. So he was good. We killed 1 of these Hellions in shooting, and then we assaulted in and killed the other 2 in close combat. We then consolidated to pull in Kitty, pulled her into combat. She killed 3 orcs for doing that, but we have the objective and we've got her tied up. So that is everything for the orc phase. There should be no morale test as there's still too many boys to fail leadership in there.
Yep, even with the Dark Eldar's Power from Pain, which is -1 to your morale for being within 6 inches of me, and getting hit by the Phantasm Grenade Launcher on Overwatch, still plenty of boys not to have to worry about the morale. You have secured an objective right there on 6, and you have killed a unit of Hellions, so that's going to ensure that you get at least 2 points at the end of this turn. But now it's the Dark Eldar's turn to respond. Drukhari turned 5. I moved my Hellions over here and rained down some shots after I moved Kitty out of combat. Killed 2 in the shooting phase. The Scourge secured that objective number 3 over there and still managed to hit, wound, and kill that Death Dread, finally. He was on a mission and he finally accomplished it. So that was the second thing I killed. After that, I charged into Jeremy's Sheeta Boys in there. He killed 3 of me during Overwatch, doing a total of 6 wounds.
Yes.
Again, killed the 3 that were outside the ruins first, and then the 3 inside the ruins managed to make armors and near pain rolls. And when they charged in, they did an additional 6 casualties. So in total, I did 8 casualties to the unit. They got hit by a Phantasm grenade launcher, and they're within 6 inches of Kitty at turn 5, which means they are an additional -1 to leadership. So a total of 10. Jeremy, your leadership is 7. Means you're losing at least 3 plus D6. This has not been going awesome for you yet. There's a 6. So that is the squad, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and remove those and tally up the points. Jeremy's going to go ahead and call it here, ladies and gentlemen. The only thing he has left is that truck, so it's understandable. The final score is 25-18. Okay, welcome back to the channel. You got to see 2 index armies, both Xenos, go at it, and it was a bloodbath.
Yeah, very little left at the end.
4 models, 3 of which were mine. But I think 2 evenly matched armies.
Yeah.
I said before we played, the Drukhari are good at shooting, they're good at assault, you get it right units, they can do well against either, but not great at either, at least not the witch cults. The orcs obviously were surprisingly good at shooting. When you throw that much DAC out, it works well, and always good in assault. So I think it was very well matched, and I liked your list a lot, by the way.
Thank you.
As far as the mission, though, I do want to talk about that. What'd you think of it?
It's a lot of managing to keep track of the points, but all in all, I think it does a better job of being fair across the board because you know how objectives are going to be scored as opposed to random card draws. So it's a lot to manage sometimes, but I think you get a better idea of who's playing better as opposed to who's just drawing better cards.
Yeah, so this is the ITC mission pack, and this is pretty much the tournament standard over in the United States right now. There's some other tournament packs out there as well, but I think this is certainly the biggest. And I think it was extremely tactical. Like you said, it's a lot to manage, but this was the first time either one of us played it. So
Right.
even during the game, we became better at scoring. We started to put the models aside that were killed during the turn. It made things easier. So I thought it was a lot of fun. And in the end, I think it was a close game at 24-18. And I think that reflected what happened on the battlefield.
Definitely.
Did you feel pretty good about your secondary objectives that you picked?
Yes, there was one for killing units with 10 or more models, and you only had 3 units. But from the choices given, I'm not sure if I had a better choice with the list that I had. The recon to get the table quarters, maybe if I had a faster orc list, but I had a lot of guys on foot, I don't think I could have chose anything that would have worked out too much better.
Yeah, you ended up killing 2 out of my 3 characters for 2 points. You managed to kill all 3 of my units with 10 or more. And after that, it was kind of a crapshoot. I did not build my list with the mission pack in mind, but
No.
there were some things that made it difficult. And it's funny as it sounds, you probably overkilled on the first 2 rounds because you were doing either like 5 or 6 units that were dead by the end of the battle phase. Mm-hmm. Not leaving enough units to kill the 3 later on that you needed. You didn't kill any in the first turn. Neither of us did.
No.
But it does bring up a good point. Who went first? And both you and I on that die roll, we're going to give the other person.
Yeah, I did not want to go first. I was hoping that you would close the gap first.
And I wasn't going to. I try to be very patient with my Drukhari, knowing that Power from Pain builds upon each round. The only real questionable thing I did, and I'm not sure I was right or wrong, but I decided to charge my witches during turn 2 in order to try to take some objectives and whatnot, and it didn't work out looking back at it, I'm not sure it works out any better if I do it in turn 3. Yes, they're hitting on 2s, but that's 16% more hits. I'm not sure. The problem was you had too many boys for not enough witches, and
Right.
you just rolled over me when you attacked me back.
Right. The 2 units of shooter boys were pretty much the most threatening thing out there, just because of the amount of dice they roll. So you needed to get those guys taken care of as soon as possible. You can see the 1 unit of shooter boys pretty much was the most effective thing the last few turns of the game.
Like all turns of the game, they were very effective. I did do the classic Drukhari tactic of charging that raider in. When I didn't have a raider to charge in, that middle unit, you managed to kill about 4 in Overwatch, which really reduced the damage I could do to you during combat, and in turn allowed you to roll me back when it was your turn. I thought my command points were well spent. I thought you spent your command points pretty well. You never have enough. You certainly could have used some on some of those morale rolls.
Yes. I used them too soon.
Yeah, your orcs were not looking for the fight, especially after the warlord died, I suppose, but that's the way it goes. All right, I thought it was a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Xenos on Xenos battle as much as we had fun playing it. If you did, go ahead and like and subscribe if you already haven't. Our numbers are steadily growing, and I do appreciate all the support that we get for the channel. We'll have more battles in the future. You'll be seeing the 17th Shetland Light Dragoons, the Sisters of Battle, and, of course, the War Corgi chapter Space Marines in the future. And, Jeremy, I think you got a couple lists that you're going to bring in the future.
I got a couple lists. You'll see some power armor in the future.
Yep. Never have enough power armor. That's what everyone on the internet says. So.
Yeah.
All right. Really appreciate your time, and hope you enjoyed the battle report. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.